It was a day like any other. Sunlight on driveways, laughter in backyards, families following their routines. No one suspected everything was about to change. In moments, the ordinary shattered. A child vanished, panic set in, and every second suddenly mattered. The family called 911 desperate for help, but time pressed on. The golden window for recovery was slipping away. Police scrambled, but the system wasn't built for speed. Delays crept in, a minute here, 5 there. Each pause, a lost chance. This tragedy exposed the cracks. It forced us to ask, how many more minutes can we afford to lose? The answer was clear: none. The world would never look at those first minutes the same way again. Every second truly matters. The first failure happened instantly, a misclassification. In the chaos, the dispatcher logged the call as a custody issue, not a stranger abduction. That single keystroke set the case on a slower path. Once it's coded as a custody dispute, the urgency drops. It's policy. Instead of urgent response, the case was assigned to routine patrol. The family knew the danger, but the system had already labeled their crisis. By the time the mistake was realized, precious minutes were lost. The first hour is critical. Every minute lost reduces the chance of recovery. One error, and the clock was already against them. The timeline shows how quickly hope faded. Before the digital age, the Amber Alert process was a maze of paperwork, designed for thoroughness, not for speed. Every step depended on physical documents, handwritten notes, and a chain of approvals that could stretch on for hours. After confirming an abduction, officers faced a mountain of forms, each one demanding the same details, written again and again. Sometimes, a single mistake meant starting over from scratch. Each form required signatures from multiple supervisors, moving from one desk to another or waiting in line at the fax machine. In one real case, a crucial alert sat on a desk for nearly an hour, simply waiting for a signature. Every approval added precious minutes, sometimes even hours, while the child was being taken further away. Officers could only watch the clock, knowing that every second lost made recovery less likely. The system valued caution over urgency, and that cost dearly. In the words of one officer, "We did everything by the book, but sometimes the book was just too slow." It was a system built on patience, when what was needed most was speed. The abductor's only goal was distance. Every minute without an alert was a gift. But the system moved slowly, tangled in paperwork and red tape. While the suspects sped away, officers were stuck in procedure. The public, our greatest asset, remained in the dark. Thousands drove past the suspect, unaware. Each passing vehicle was a missed chance. The window to act was closing fast. The child was slipping further away. The system's silence echoed louder than any alarm. The biggest roadblock was the approval process. Every request for an alert had to pass through a maze of procedures, each step designed to prevent mistakes, but none designed for speed. Multiple sign-offs were required to prevent misuse, but time was never factored in. Each signature meant another delay, another moment lost. The final approver was busy. Meetings, calls, other crises. Officer Ramirez remembers standing outside that office, heart pounding, hoping for a miracle. Every minute felt like an hour, she later recalled. The request for an alert sat in an inbox, just another task. Dispatchers watched the screen, refreshing, waiting for the green light that never came. No rule forced it to the top. The system treated every request the same, no matter the stakes. Officers on the ground waited, helpless. Parents sat by the phone, praying for news. The emotional toll was crushing. Every second stretched hope thinner. The delay wasn't malice. It was a system blind to urgency. We did everything by the book, one official said, but the book was never written for moments like this. The abductor didn't wait for paperwork. They kept moving. Every lost minute was a mile further away, and the opportunity to save a life slipped away. For those who waited, the silence that followed was unbearable. When the delays became public, outrage followed. Communities across the country erupted in protest, their voices echoing through city halls and town squares. The family's pain was shared by a nation that trusted the Amber Alert system. Candlelight vigils lit up neighborhoods, and parents everywhere hugged their children a little tighter. News reports exposed the hours lost to bureaucracy. Talk shows and social media buzzed with stories of families who had lost precious time and hope, waiting for alerts that came too late. The public demanded answers and change. Protesters filled the streets, chanting for reform, while children made signs and joined marches, their voices rising in unity. Lawmakers, officials, and law enforcement faced intense scrutiny. Survivors and families bravely shared their stories, urging leaders to act. The old excuses no longer worked. Communities organized, volunteers mobilized, and leaders were forced to listen. People wanted a system that was faster, with bottlenecks removed and time limits enforced. Every second mattered, and the nation refused to accept delays. The demand was clear. From the moment a child is in danger, the system must move as fast as the abductor. Communities stood together, refusing to let another child slip through the cracks. The pressure for reform was overwhelming. Petitions flooded government offices, and emotional appeals from parents and children moved even the most stoic lawmakers. It was no longer a question of if, but how soon. The nation was watching, and hope began to rise as change drew near. The system had to change, immediately. And it did. Because of the voices, the protests, and the courage of families, the Amber Alert system was transformed, giving hope to every child and every parent across the nation. The Amber Alert system was overhauled, timers installed, digital tools deployed, and training rolled out nationwide. Now, every second counts. Officers and dispatchers act fast, with real-time monitoring and instant alerts. Digital pipelines replaced paper, and mobile apps made activation possible anywhere. The promise: never lose a minute. Every child's life is the top priority, and the commitment to save them grows stronger with every new innovation.